Wow, these people are like zombies, man. Let's delete everybody's followers. This is getting out of hand. Wake up, people! Wake up!
What about when no one watches? Do you like yourself when you don't have your phone? Will you still pretend you're happy? What you gonna do when your followers gone? Maybe you will see the world in a different light of day. Maybe you will feel no stress when you don't care what people say. No pressure what to post. Living life how it's supposed. Feeling good, no need to post. Hey, I saw a pretty girl with my own eyes, not through a screen, and she was more than 2D, if you know what I mean. I started thinking with my own mind, not through the shades, and ever since I made that change, the world is smiling at me. Do you like yourself when you don't have your phone? Will you still pretend you're happy? What you gonna do when your followers gone? Oh no! All the places we could go when we're not stuck in a zone. Free when we let algorithms take control. Tell me how we supposed to vibe when your life is your device. Let me give you some advice. Go see a pretty girl with your own eyes, not through a screen, cause it's more clear than HD with no glass in between. Started thinking with my own mind, not through machines. And ever since I made that change, the world is smiling at me. It feel like, it feel like.
Guys, please do wait for 5 minutes. They'll start the session at 6:40 sharp. Hello
Hey
guys,
guys,
welcome
welcome back.
back to day 5 of our learning camp. That is the final day of the learning camp. So, out of all the sessions we have come till today, was your favorite? Just spam the chat so that you guys are active, and by seeing you guys, we get more active. You see, our energy is a bit low. So come
Help us
on,
get it back up, guys.
yeah, come on, let's get back.
Spam the chats, please. Or yeah,
Come on,
or
come
come on.
on, come on, guys.
Anything. I mean, whichever session got you through the most. I mean,
Yeah. Okay, so you guys also have no energy. So
let's bring it up.
let's bring it up then. Okay.
Okay.
Navneet, I guess you get on the topic first.
Okay. I think let's talk about something that is probably going to be of interest to you, which is, I mean, we've talked about slowly building a career in design, and we're getting there. I mean, there are still a lot of sessions to go through, that is today, but we went through the, I mean, straight road, yeah,
Yeah.
getting into a career and making your profession.
Profession. In the beginning of the session, we guaranteed you that by the end of the learning camp, you might have known so many basic stuffs that you will be ready at the end of the learning camp. So we are at that position right now. By the end of 3 hours, you might have almost a drastic change from the initial before 5 days, how you were and now how you were. So as part of that, what is side hustle and what are those? And Amrit is going to explain to you. How you
Yeah,
guys are
exactly.
talking.
I mean, we since we on the topic of side hustles, let's think about how to make passive income. Now, before we go into what is
Passive income, don't think it as investing into money chain and not
it is not.
this is like sweating your sweat, okay, and then earning. So yeah, let's say that.
So basically, what you one thing you could do is I mean, you're creating designs, you're doing a lot of your work.
Yeah.
So what if you could earn money from that instead of always having to put your effort into creating things or doing things for the same amount?
Like how awesome it would be if you guys started earning money for the work you do instead of those asking your parents each time they go, your mom, can I have 100 rupees? Can I have 1,000 rupees for having dinner? Like in the soul amount. Don't think 1,000 rupees what I have. My mom listening to this in the license will come with the sandwich downstairs and throw it at me. So, anyways, get back to the session.
Anyways, I mean, let's actually get into it. I'll tell you some of these sites or some of the places we could find that supports your side hustles. So basically, I think one of the most biggest thing that you probably have seen is Envato.
Envato, yes.
I mean, you've seen it.
Obviously, any designer who's gonna design for their college works or basic usage templates, the first thing that's gonna pop up for After Effects is gonna be Envato, and then there is some other like Video Hive, Motion Array, and
there are a lot of sites. I mean, just please, I mean, you guys are already spending your time making something. Yeah. So why not just put it on some of these sites? Yes. So that you get a chance to earn from what you already have.
Yeah.
And talking about one of these sites, I mean, how many of you guys? I mean, you guys made UIs so far.
Yeah.
How many of you guys use illustrations throughout that? Just please put that in the chat.
We heard the session of Aisha Rana talking about illustrations, and after that we gave it a UI task and we reviewed the UI task, and we saw so many illustrations that you guys used. But those were vectors, and I know you guys took it from somewhere. And please spam in the chat which were the sites.
What site did you get?
Yeah. So it's basically free pick. How much have you guys know free pick?
Do it. Okay, that is cool.
Yeah.
Free pick.
So shout out to Sania for drawing it. Okay, yeah, Sarah will
Madeline also do it. Okay, we've got quite some illustrators here.
I guess you guys are inspired by Aisha Rana's session. Anyways, great. So one of these sites where you get illustrations for like people showcase their work and you can download the raw file, that is the editable file, is FreePick. So before we dive into FreePick, I'll give them the brand identity style.
Yeah.
I told you guys that I created my brand style using a template, right? So basically, that template was from Figma community, and I know few of my friends over here took the same template and used it. So yeah, so why we have to mention that guy's name to that topic? Navneet will be explaining to you guys.
Exactly. Okay. So I think you can see it on screen. That this is an example of something. I mean, the downloading screen of Prepit. So basically, what happens is you can see they ask for a link to attribute them. So why would you attribute them? Just go on with that. I just start to share our story. I mean, at GDC MBCT, one of the things we work with most are illustrations. I mean, all of our designs have illustrations almost. So what we do there is we usually take our design from Freepik. We haven't been doing that for some time now because we've got our team to do that from scratch. But while we do take illustrations at the very beginning, I mean, when the team was just me and Salman, we used to rely on Freepik a lot. But what we forgot to do was give attribution.
So what basically attribution is? For example, you are doing your work. Okay, let's say I'll give you the cliche example that we all have gone through in our life. Okay, you crack a joke. I mean, my bad. Crack a joke with your friend. Okay, you silently crack a joke with your friend. I say I'm cracking a joke to Navneet, and the joke is epic. Okay, but the only person that listens is Navneet. Now Navneet, what he does? Okay, he in front of all my class groups, he's gonna crack the exact joke and people are going to laugh at it, and the credit goes to him. So people will be like, oh, Navneet is a very awesome guy. His jokes are all cool. But inside, deep down, I'm burning inside because that was my joke and the attention was for me. But he didn't attribute me over there.
So right. So it's the same thing with all these illustrations and all of that. The design assets you get from different sites. Just please be sure to give them their credit. I mean, at one point, as we were talking about side hustles, like you might be putting your own work there. So when you do that, the incentive for you guys will be the credit you receive, or it could go on in different forms, but mostly it's the credit. And so always
the credit. Yeah. So if you example, you say, okay, I took this illustration and it's freely available, and I put the attribute. What does it give the creator an upper hand? You say you click the attributes. There are not only us or the audience is not just pure users who are just coming for the event like college students. There are so many audience. If, for example, the UXTopia poster we put, there are multiple kinds of audiences. One, the audiences like you who are interested to learn something new. Then other audiences, the designers like us out there, they will see this. Okay, this bus element is awesome. I wish I could have that element. If it is our creation, okay, we could like we won't give attribution. But instead, if it is some others' creations, okay, they will say, okay, GDC and BCT guys did that. But instead, it would be someone else who created that bus element. And we would have been attributing them, and they will go down the link or see wherever you are to attribute. They'll go, okay, they see the attribution. They click on that, they see this attribute as other works which are paid. So if these guys are interested, they'll go and click those. And that is
it's a way for others to notice your doing. So if you actually attribute someone or someone else's work, they are actually getting something out of that, right?
I'll give you a best example that you could guys relate. You guys send us submissions, 18 submissions of UI we received. Tomorrow, you see this UI under a GDC MBCT's banner, our banner, as though we created. How would you guys feel?
So it's always, I mean, coming back to the point, it's always important to get that chance to attribute someone.
Yeah.
Because you cannot first of all, as we said, it helps someone. Second of all, it is the right thing to do. And we're not going to extend this any further, but we have to say this because attributions are something that is very important to.
It's very important at the same time, very underrated.
Exactly.
And I believe, have you guys heard about this attribution before? If yes, spam the chat. Come on, guys, be active today. This is the last day of our session. We have been together for 5 days. Now, come on.
Please, if you. Okay.
Yes. Cool. Did you guys know the importance of attribution? And if so, did you guys attribute their works? Anyways, I saw yesterday so many illustrations in some of the works and I didn't see the attribution. Come on. Don't say me yes for this question too. Okay, anyway, not taking the time because we have a very important speaker coming up next. Yes, today we're not gonna bore you again. Today is yeah, it's our time is over. We only come in between and interrupt for introducing new speakers. This speaker is one of the best, and I think the best person to introduce him will be him.
I think I'll just start from the slide itself. Do you see that this was something I used for attribution? And if you see that this, the wording there,
Yeah,
sometimes I see this and I feel what
yeah, it draws us. See the writing over there.
it drives us to attribute them. So it's sometimes in the words you use.
Yeah.
So with that, talking about the importance of words, we have
Before that, examples they could relate the Zomato content creators.
exactly
Right?
the witty phrase.
Witty feels like they catch a line each time. And I have shared their content like more than 100 times, more than what I share about my content.
In the way they write, it's all the content that captures us there. There are no images.
No
in those.
images in those Zomatos. It's a plain red color, their custom brand color.
And sometimes it's not always about the capturing. It's mostly about getting your product accessible to users, getting it easy to use. So with that, I
Yes,
think
you are coming to UX writing, and the speaker is
Ivnisha Malan.
yes. And to run through her background, she was from
She started at
Yeah.
she was at a point at Etlink. I think many of you know what Etlink is.
Yes.
And
They
now
usually
she's
have
currently in
Angel.
Angel One. I'm sorry for that. She's currently in Angel One, and she's a UX writer. I am sorry for that mistake. She's a UX writer, and she's here to talk about the importance of UX writing. And I'm sure she's going to deliver an amazing session. So, Ivnisha, are you
over to
here?
Hey guys, hi.
Ignitia, before going to
Me,
sorry for the wrong description.
That's okay. It's Ivnisha Malani, and I'm not a freelance product illustrator. I'm a UX writer, but that's okay, guys. That's okay.
Anyways, over to you.
So I'll dive right in. Quick introduction. I was before moving into UX writing, I was a marketing writer, and before that, I was pursuing chartered accountancy. I did not finish it. I basically have been into finance background, but have worked with agencies that have served in IoT. I have worked with hiring products, music products, streaming products, and it has been a great journey. And I'm excited to tell you all about UX writing. So I'll just quickly start presenting. So hoping this is all clear for you. I'll just start. Oh, wait, there's some glitch. Yeah, we have to start from here. Yeah. So basically, UX writing is the practice of communicating with words within your design. In a nutshell, it's this, but it's so much more. And we will take it from here. So before that, I'll start with a very small story, which recently happened. Citibank, it's a story about Citibank. They lost $500 million because there was bad design. But when you read the story further, it wasn't bad design, it was bad copy. It was not telling the user clearly what is in it and what they are talking about. So there was a case that was going on. A federal judge just told Citibank that we are sorry, we can't return you $500 million, you have lost it. And a badly designed user interface and a bad software and bad communication, all of that contributed to this screw up. So this is what it looked like. Obviously, it might be easy for the people who are use it, but currently it looks extremely complicated. But what actually happened was this: there was a subcontractor, and he thought that checking this principal checkbox and entering the number of Citibank wash account would ensure that he's paying it to Citibank. But he was wrong. What actually happens when you put this number in the principal thing and click the checkbox is that that nothing happens. And what he actually needed to do was set the front and the fund fields and not principal. So subcontractor forgot to do that, and this basically removed $500 million from Citibank, and nothing happened. And they couldn't do anything about it. There was no reversal to this, and they tried getting their money back via case, but they failed. So this is one example. Another example is this. I take a basic Gmail inbox thing and just remove everything. Okay, I remove every possible copy that there is. Can you function with this? You cannot. And I know products won't exist without words, but I'm just exaggerating it to tell you that without words, nothing would make sense to you. So UX writing is very, very important. And in the long run, bad UX writing gets worse than no UX writing at all. So let's take it from here. First, I'll tell you what is UX copy and what is UX writing. So UX copy or UI copy is basically micro copy. It is the words that take your customer throughout your product. They tell what is in on your website, what's on your app. They are in your notifications, they are in your buttons, they are in your warning messages. They tell user to think before taking a decision, and they tell user or encourage user to move ahead in from one screen to another. So use them in your buttons, headlines, captions, help text, error messages. They're basically everywhere. So if you look at an app, it's mostly words. If you remove all the I would say illustrations and interactions and everything, then words are the only thing that they tell what it is and where to go and what to do. So basically, these words with the images guide the customers to use a product, right? And what is UX writing? So doing all of that and designing with words is in my what I see as UX writing is. It is practice of writing the customer facing text. It is also but designing digital products with words, because there is no other way your users will understand how to use and interact with the software. And we have been using all of these software since long. Like if you go to Google and you click the search, and it tells you what kind of search results are there. It tells you this is an ad. That ad tag tells you, that little copy tells you that this is an ad, not a normal search result. Scroll more if you want to. So all of that makes up for user experience. So it tells you how to interact with software products, how to switch between desktop and mobile apps, what's the difference. And it is also in your voice interactions, how Alexa responds when you tell her to do something. So that's basically someone wrote that, someone gave that instruction. So UX writing is basically interaction designing but with words. So writing essentially is a design function. And not many people understand this, but it's very important that we aggressively promote writing as a design function. Because this is one example. This is a very popular website in US called Craigslist. If you look at this website, there is nothing, absolutely nothing, no, boxes, no interactions, no illustrations, no images, no animations at all, just words. But you know what to do, where to go, how to do it. This is your event calendar. This is your app. These are the categories. This is the city you are in. All of it is right there. And it's not hard to navigate at all. You will understand it within a minute. So words make things work. You can still live without an animation, but you cannot live without the words on the app at all. So, and this is a very common misconception when people are designing, that they start with lorem ipsum. They basically fill the space with lorem ipsum or a dummy text or any random text, because they are not thinking what will come there. They think that I just have to design. I do not need words, but that's not the truth at all. It's like making a movie without the script. And every visual medium follows one common rule, that you need to get the script or the words first, and then you go ahead. So when you design without words, it's basically being lazy about your designing, basically not thinking in the way information functions. Because I have seen so many designers create wireframes and final designs with lorem ipsum, and then you go to the copywriter and tell them, hey, can you fill up some words here? But that's the wrong way. How about we change the system? We think with words. We think, okay, this is a screen. I want to tell this here, tell this here, tell this here. Put that information in, put basic words in, and then design for that information. The designs would improve so much. So you get unrealistic design when you do not design with words. And if you look at it in the long run, when the user comes to your app, they're not here to look at a color, oh, such nice colors you have used, or a font, or an animation. They're there to do something. They basically want to see something, do something. They need instruction, information, and labels. So the user is not here to appreciate your design. They're here to appreciate function. And words put function in design. So a web page with a basic structure without content is basically an image that does not tell what to do and where to go, right? So why design with words? Because product flow is a story. Every product in itself is a story. When you go on Zomato and place an order, and they tell you that, hey, this is where you can order for two, and this is where you can order a single meal. If you're looking for a lunchbox, here it is. All of that is a story. Every piece, every instruction, every action that you complete was driven by a story. And narrative is important to complete a story, right? So when words guide your design, everything is seamless. Like you log in, they tell you that if you are not registered, register here. Then you register. They tell you to set up a profile. Hey, here are some suggestions. All of that is communication at the end of the day. It feels like it's design, but it's communication blended into design. So all the positive and negative flows, what happens when the user fails to do something, what happens when there is lack of funds, what happens there when there is an order failure, all of it is eventually designed but with words. So good writing essentially leads to good design, and you can't change it. Like eventually there will come a point in your life when you will look at your app and you will be like, oh, this should have been written better, and I could have told the user more. So you can imagine icons that have names, how to function around a form, call to action buttons across your app, instructions across your app, the help guide, the help text, error states, coach marks, tool tips. All of this is basically designing with words. It is interface design at the end of the day. So that's how you need to address it, and that's how you need to aggressively promote words within your design. Now, the biggest question here is, what should you do first? Should you design first, or should you do the content structure first? And this is a classic chicken and egg question, and it's not a race as it is perceived to be. People generally design first and tell the writer to write later. And in an utopian ideal situation, that shouldn't be the case. In a utopian situation, the designer and writer would sit together, wireframe together, think together, plan together. But that always does not happen. So wherever you should actually talk to the writer that would be working on the product, because effective collaboration between design and content is easier said than done. So to do it, you have to aggressively take actions. Hey, ask your writer, what do you think about this design? Ask them, hey, I want to do this. The user will have to take these actions. What will be our communication like? Give them approach, give them knowledge, and take their knowledge in. It's all about making the product better at the end of the day, and all of this design has to come together and be useful to the user. So if you do it without words, it would fail. If you do it without the interaction design and the visual design, it would fail. So somewhere these guys need to sit together, these girls need to sit together and talk about it and do it faster. So the sooner you bring content in your steps, it's better. The later you bring, it's worse. So talk to your writers as soon as you can, and if possible, always keep them in your brainstorming situations. And here are some other things that you can do to make your designs better. First of all, if you're designing a web page, a app, a basic flow, a form, whatever it is, don't use placeholder copy. Don't use lorem ipsum. Don't put dummy text. Write what would be there. Even if you're not a good writer, just fill in information. Like if you're creating a form, mention that the name would go here, the email would go here, a user has to write a message here. Mention all of that. Just put the intent of the copy there. What would be there should be the copy, because you can refine it later. But if you use dummy text, you can't function with that thing, right? So this is how designers can be communicators. You don't have to have graded writing skills. You don't have to be a blogger, an aggressive poet, or a writer, anything. Just put in the words, no matter what language you're comfortable in. Just put there that what it is about. So if you don't have the content, write the best suitable words that you know. Write the words that would fulfill the goal. And then give your UX writer or a copywriter to work from there. Tell them that this is what I was thinking about. Now, what do you think about this? Let's work on it. Also, share every design draft with a UX writer. Now, this won't be possible if you don't have a writer where you're working, or you're a freelancer and don't have a writer to work with. So, find someone who understands writing. Get a writer as a consultant on board and share those design drafts with them. Sometimes design is all about communicating with words, and images don't have to play that important role. If you go to Airbnb, you will see that when a person comes and looks at a room and tries to book it, they give some instructions. Now, that bottom sleeve that pops up for instructions, copy is the hero there. It's all words. You have to tell the user what to do, where to go, how to do it. So, share all your drafts with UX writers so that they can look at it in a way that information is flowing correctly or not. How the story looks like. Is the story being rushed? Is the user uncomfortable somewhere? Is the information missing from somewhere? And collaboration is very easy these days because you can just share your Figma file or your XD file and tell them to have a look at it. And if your writer sees your first draft and they tell you that, hey, this text would work and you don't need an icon here, or they can tell you that, hey, why are you even writing here? This icon is very popular. Like, nobody has to write what to search if there is a search icon somewhere, right? So all of that feedback is very important, and it would come from your writer only. Third most important thing, there are always design problems that would depend on fixing design and can't be fixed by copy. So if you have designed something complicated where there are a lot of steps, lot of instructions, maybe fix the design. And this is what your writer will tell you, that things don't have to be so complicated. Let's fix the structure first. Information architecture is eventually also good copy, good design, all of that. And everyone would come together, right, to fix this. So there is a very heavy possibility that you feel like you need copy here to fix the problem. But the problem is that designer itself needs refinement, and sometimes a designer is unable to do it, and a writer looks at it and he's like, hey, it's not that hard, let's make it easy. And all of that collaboration makes your product smooth, makes your products better. uh, Basically, if I give you good copy and you don't design it well, it would be like, I give you an amazing book but you make a bad movie on it, which is generally happens because they don't involve writers while making movies, right? Also, stop believing that UX writing is a different function from UX design. All of it is UX. All of it has to work together. So, just because a text fits the design perfectly doesn't mean it's perfect text. You know, you don't write to fit in the boxes. Write to explain. Write to communicate. Write to discuss things with the user or whosoever is coming to the app and wondering what to do here. You will see this in good apps a lot. Like Spotify tells you what's where, how to go where. Settings are very clear. Look at the copy in the settings. It tells you whether you're on a premium account or not, and the way they communicate and or promote premium to you. It's very instructional. Hey, it's ad free. Hey, you can download offline. All of that is so easy to understand. All of it is good design at the end of the day. You are not looking at it as, hey, this is good design and this is good copy. All of it is good UX at the end of the day. So writing and design are not mutually exclusive functions. Writing is design, and design cannot survive without writing. So all of it has to work together in that way. There are times when your writer will tell that, hey, expand the box a bit. We need to talk more here. Do that. It's important. Communication is very important in a good product. So right copy makes your products way, way, way better. And good copy just does not make your product better, but also creates a brand, creates a impression on the user that, hey, we are here to help you. It basically makes a human out of your product eventually. And I will quickly give you some best practices on UX writing, because now I've explained what UX writing is, that you can use as a beginner, as a designer who will be somewhere and want to do something. So always tell your user what's wrong and how to fix it when you're communicating somewhere. There are states in design where the product might fail, like when you lose internet, or when the order cannot be placed, or when the payments have failed. All of that happens a lot. So use UX writing to highlight those situations and help the user. Explain them what happened, explain them why it happened, explain how you can resolve it. If you can give an answer straight away, give that to user. If you can connect them to a human to solve their problem better, give a direction from there. Do it with words. Be user's friend that moment. Lead with action and answers. Your copy should be always very active, not passive. It should talk to the user. It should tell the user what's happening, what's not happening. For instance, if you go to like if you want location permissions, I've given an example here, right? So I cannot say, hey, this feature will only work when access to location is allowed. This is a very complicated way to say, hey, give me location access to use this feature. Say it very directly. Give them action driven instructions and labels both. Tell them what to do always. Tell them why they need to do it always. And if you cannot, find a better way to communicate that what is wrong here and what the problem is. Also always tell your user where they are and what will happen next. I call this labeling within the products. You know how sometimes you open a home page and it does not tell you it's a home page, and it's just basically a list of cards, random rails, and you don't know what to do with them. Use your copy to define things there. Guide the user. Tell them this is what it looks like here, and this will take you to an inner page that is about placing an order. Use that information. Your conversation in the first instance will actually impress user and encourage them to move ahead in your product, or otherwise they will just drop away. If your conversation is bad, if your communication on a product is bad, it's easier to install, right? They will just assume that it's a bad product that does not talk to me. I don't want to use it anymore. So use clear text, clear help text, clear headlines, clear CTAs, all of that. And all constantly when you're designing, think about the questions that a user may have during this process and try to answer them within that process. Don't design without those words. Don't design without those questions and those ideas. Also, time your information. Like, don't give everything in one go. For instance, if your user comes on a product and wants to place an order and you want to tell them how to place an order, don't tell them everything. Use coach marks, use little instances to guide them. Hey, go here, click here. You can select a product. Hey, now you have selected a product, go to your cart. Now in your cart, place an order. Use all of that information one by one. Constantly reduce users' cognitive load through copy. Don't overwhelm them. Don't give them anxiety about using your product, that there's so many instructions, so complicated, I don't want to do it anymore. Like we saw it in Citibank, right? There was so much in one go. If it was clear steps, if it was one by one, clearly designed, broken down information, it would have been easy for someone else to do it, right? So that's about it. I'll take up some questions now. This is how you can communicate through the product. You can use words to design better, teach better, and make a generally better product and design or website or whatever you're building. So let's get started with questions. Hi. Hello. Hello. Does anybody have any questions?
Guys,
Guys, you could ask by unmuting, or even you could give in the chat.
Yeah.
Anyone?
yes, I mean, you get this chance to, put whatever you have in the chats.
Like you
Yeah.
said, you have to make the product more simpler and easier for the user to understand, right?
Uh,
But
yeah.
recent psychology reports state that, like, when you give the user a little bit of like, if you make it a bit harder, they actually fire, like they actually get a dopamine hit. I read this psychology article somewhere where if you consistently make the app a little bit harder for the people for the user to use, they actually get addicted to it. I read it somewhere. So what do you
Okay.
think? Did, do you get my question?
Yeah, I got your question, but that does not apply to all the apps, right? Not all the apps are there to get you addicted. Like if you look at your stock investment apps, they are not to get you addicted, but just to make your investment journeys easy. Or if you want to buy something on Amazon, it does not make placing an order hard for you, right? Otherwise you won't be able to place an order and you would get frustrated. You will
Yeah,
use
yeah.
some other app. So I think what you're saying and what that study might have tried to say, if I'm not assuming it wrong, that you need to not give the user entire information in one go, but in bits and pieces. Leave some curiosity, leave some window open for some questions, right? So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they explore the app more, and constantly while they explore, they build a habit to use that app. I don't think making it difficult would do that, but yeah, breaking down information, as I said, right? Like just tell them what's required in one screen and then take them there. Like if you use Instagram, they guide you really well on how to create a reel, right? Like you
Yeah.
do it step by step. You select the audio first, then you select an effect, then you build the reel, then they tell you, hey, test it. Do you want to publish it or do you want to schedule it? What do you want to do here?
Mhm.
Like that. So making it difficult, even if the study said so, I don't think would be a great idea, because we constantly work on copy. We test it a lot, and every time the copy is confusing, we see users drop from the product in between, and it creates a lot of problem.
Okay. But only thing if it's too easy, then they would. Okay. Okay. Fine. Fine. I got it. I got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
like if it's too easy, they'll stay on it and use it more.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Got it. Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
Anytime, anytime. Yeah. Anyone else? Is it good to give an element of enthusiasm to writing? This is Tanya's question. I'll just read it out. Is there a situation it would be a bad idea? Yeah, if you have failed them, right? If they were placing an order and the order fails, right? And they couldn't place it, you can't just go all enthusiastically and tell them, hey, we couldn't place an order, try again. You can't be that excited. And in fact, enthusiasm does not work everywhere. This is a very common problem when copywriters move to UX writing. They try to give it a lot of personality, and sometimes the user is not in that mood. So you can't be this chirpy person across your product, right? Imagine if Swiggy does not deliver your order and the notification reads the same way. Uh, they send their advertising notifications that, hey, it's time to order. You have to choose tone and voice basis the situation. So there are a lot of situations in an app where it's a bad idea, like failures, or help text. If you're helping someone, you can't have a tone and voice of being excited about it. You just have to guide them. So you have to change the tone and voice a lot. Enthusiasm only works in success messages, or when the user has won something, like you give them a scratch card and they've won something, but it does not work across the product ever. I hope that answers your question.
Hey, I have one question. Is it okay if
Yeah,
I can?
yeah, sure.
Okay, so onboarding process is one of the most hectic, and
Yes.
factor after that is very hard. So could you suggest like how to make it more productive? I mean, like to get more onboarders onto the app.
Yeah, so in fact, that's a very great question. Thank you for asking that. Onboarding processes are primarily the first steps where you see copy can be a huge hero there, okay? Because most of the people, they leave onboarding because they don't know what's happening. So we recently built an onboarding for a music app last year, and one thing that we found out was that the users don't mind answering some questions if you ask them properly. Users don't mind interacting with your app if you tell them why you're doing that. So we built this little form where we tell them that, hey, we are all set. We are going to ask some few questions that will help you give better recommendation, and just adding the reason for asking those questions in a small screen, just that interference changed the game. Our scroll depth improved by what, 42% there. So it was so helpful just to tell the user, and that was communication playing that role, right? And then when we ask them some questions, hey, what artist you like, hey, do you think you will like these artists, are these your favorite songs, select some, and then we give them the recommendations. So what you can do during onboarding processes is use the information, use the why, hows, what's of whatever you're asking the user, and tell them and guide them to move further. In fact, onboarding without copy would any day tank because users don't like a lot of steps, right? So just every step, use a label and an instruction. Ask them, hey, do you mind giving us this information? If not, move ahead. If you want to, please give us this information, and tell them why you're asking that. Copy plays a huge role in onboarding, huge role. And in fact, you can tell how much they have succeeded in onboarding also, right? 40% done, 50% done, all of that. All of these are copy major copy behaviors at the end of the day. Does it help? Have I answered your question? Please let me know.
Yeah. It really helped.
Yeah, okay.
Can I ask?
Anybody else?
I actually have another question.
Yeah, cool. You can go ahead. I don't
Uh,
mind questions. I am excited about the Q&A sessions more than the presentation always.
yeah. Okay. So basically, like how, like sometimes there's this language barrier that you have to cross, right? I mean,
Yes.
what different styles of writing. I mean, would how would it change? Like if, for example, like using Indian English and comparing that to
Oh, you would see a lot of apps have started doing that. So Urban Clap, they have a partner app, right? They use a lot of English there, like photo click karke dale. They write it like that, the way we write in messages. And there are no rules to this. Okay, if your user is comfortable with some form of language, use it. We use it all the time in our music app because it catered to primarily audiences that were tier 2, tier 3 cities, and they were not good at either pure English or pure Hindi. So you need to speak them in the language they speak, right? So ये गाना सुनने के लिए यहाँ click करें. We used to write all that. Uh, this is basically called localization as a technical concept, but you can use English, you can use any your native tongue. Like if I'm promoting an app in West Bengal and they speak some English terms that along with Bengali, I'll use them. All of this is called localization at the end of the day. And trust me, there are no rules. Your app needs to, at the end of the day, speak to the user, and you have to speak the language your user speaks. So if your user calls a book, and not a kitab, you will have to call a book, right?
Okay, so with that, like I have this thing is like, is it generalizing, like generalizing and UX affect the app's user experience? Mm.
What? I didn't get
Like,
you. Can you repeat that
like if
question?
you right now you said like we are localizing the apps like for
Yeah.
different languages.
Yeah.
So in order to like the starting apps, they don't have such manpower to localize.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like if we are generalizing the apps like just going in normal English,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
so does it reduce user experience concern?
It does not primarily reduce the user experience, because that's where your copywriter actually plays the role. That if you're even using English, you use simple, clear English. You don't use jargon. You don't use heavy words. You don't use complicated terminology that people would not understand. And as your team increases, you introduce localization within the product. So initially, everybody starts with basic English and tries to keep that. But as you get more writers in your team, they will actually simplify it, and then they will tell you that, hey, maybe the problem is that we need to change the language entirely here. We need to move from English to English or Hindi or Tamil or Bengali or Punjabi. But that is a decision for the later days. I wouldn't say it affects so much in the beginning, because you want the users, and the user is also looking out for a product, right? So you will eventually find a fit, but immediate localization is never necessary. All you need to do is write simple, write clear, jargon free, extremely comprehensible language.
Thank you.
I think that
Yes,
clears
that
it.
clears it out. Okay, there is
Someone
a
has
question in the
asked me,
chat.
what is better to tell the user that a field in a form is required, or use a star next to the label? It's basically a decision you take basis how you are designing your form, if there is a space constraint or not. And one thing that we have popularly seen recently is that people have started mentioning that all forms, all fields marked this are compulsory, or all fields are compulsory. So if you can give a blanket instruction, well and good. If you don't have a space to write required everywhere, use an asterisk and then mention that that asterisk means that it's a required field. It's not that complicated. It's just a decision that it's just basically a decision making thing. Your designer or a writer or your product person just chooses that we will go ahead with this across all the forms and just go. There's no better thing in both of them. How can we get ourselves known as UX writers? How do we launch ourselves into the field? So I took a route where I started actively writing. I joined companies that had products, and I told the design teams that, hey, I am a marketing copywriter, but let me work on the product copy too. So if you get an opportunity within the team as a designer or as a product person, just tell them that, hey, let me look at the product copy. And before you read about UX writing, start reading about design more. So once you understand design, you will understand that how communication flows through design. And once you have a good balance of understanding of language and understanding of design, um, just introduce yourself as a word person in the team. Even if you're a designer, tell them that, hey, I'll take up the grunt work of words also. So there's no right way to launch yourself. You actually have to do the work before you can call yourself a UX writer. But one way is to pick up products and audit them, and you can do that freelance in your free time also. In fact, just as a personal project, just take an app, audit through it, and question their word choice. Like, there was a long time I used Grow app, and they, instead of saying your money, they used to say your funds, and it was very complicated for me. Right, funds is not the right word there, but then I understood why they were using funds, because it's an industry wide term. So all of this questioning, you can basically pick up any app and start auditing its words and publish your report on it, and get an idea of how words function. Why was this used? Why wasn't this not used? All of that. So you can't launch directly yourself into the field. You first have to write a bit and then maybe gradually move into UX part of it. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Thank you. Any other questions?
I do have a question, Amnisha. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, Amnisha, thank you so much. And first of
Okay.
all, you're a writer yourself, apart from UX writing. I've
Yeah.
been doing your work for some time. So different writers do have their different writing styles, right? Something
Yes.
that's unique to them. So I just wanted to ask you, I know that you read a lot too. So, is there any particular writing style that you draw inspiration from? A reader that you
I like I like funny humorous books a lot. I like people who write funny. Basically, there's a lot of humor in their writing because that writing is never complicated. A joke has to land, and it has just one chance to land, right? So if
Yes.
it doesn't land in that 1 minute, it will fall flat. And tragic stories and everything, you can still play around with a lot of moments. But when you are writing humor specifically, you have to be so on point and so direct all the time. So I love their specific choice of words, their specific placement of sentences, how they punctuate, how they use small grammar bits to accentuate their entire writing. And reading a lot of those essays, funny essays, humorous writing, Wodehouse stuff, all of that has influenced my writing a lot. So I personally like writing that has a lot of emotion. Like you can clearly see that when the user wrote this or the writer wrote this, they were angry. When the writer wrote this, they were sad. That expresses a lot. And another thing that I like to read a lot is songs. Songs actually tell you very nicely how rhythm flows in writing, right?
Yeah,
Because
that's
you
right.
make if you look at, there are some songs where they rhyme you with jewel. Now, when you look at the spellings, they don't look like they'll rhyme, right? Just
Right.
the thought of it, that it would flow as a rhythm, it's amazing to me, it's magical for me. So read poetry also teaches you a lot about writing. And pick up a writer you like I like funny writers, you might like tragic and sad writers, you might like thrillers, right? But pick those, how they build their story at the end of the day is important. But I really like writers who write very simple, writers who don't make you pick up a dictionary just to understand what they're writing. I love those writers.
So that was actually a common notion among all this, because when we start reading at first, we don't actually make sense of what all things that we read.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what is your comment on that? So how do we have to keep reading and wait till things wash over us, or do we have to actually understand what we are reading and then move on with it?
I would prefer. So, see, you will see this in all the smart writing that they might use a word that you don't know the meaning of, but when you read the entire sentence, you get that word for some reason, right?
Yes.
I'm assuming everyone must have experienced this like once or twice in their lives. So, if there is a problem that this word is so complicated that I'm not getting what this sentence means, by all means, take a pause, understand that sentence. But if the writing flows, and in a good situation, with a good writer, the writing will always flow even if the words are heavy. You will not notice that, oh my God, it's such a heavy word, I did not get it. And that's how your vocabulary gets built, right?
Yes, that's true.
So I would say read a lot and read what you understand first and then pick up complicated stuff. Don't pick up extremely heavy stuff in the beginning just because you want to read it and everybody told you to read it. Like there are times when I don't read a design book because I'm not there yet. I'll just read that tells me simply how design functions. So feed your information with your comprehension levels, not the other way around, because you would damn your comprehension otherwise completely.
Sure. Thank you so much, Abnisha. That was really insightful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And you guys can actually connect with me on LinkedIn if you have more questions. I generally always respond. I might take some time, but I'll get back to you in case you have more questions.
I think I could just give your LinkedIn profile on chat, right?
Yeah, you can. You can definitely.
Sure, I'll be doing
How
it.
can we concise our writing into small phrases? Is there a particular technique we could use to confine your idea rather than long essays? Quick tip on this. Once you start writing, day one, you won't be a very precise writer. You will write long sentences, you will write long paragraphs. But by editing it every day, you will learn to write it shorter. So there's a good practice. Describe something in 100 words for the first time, then try to describe that same thing in 5 words and see if you're encapsulating or not. And you don't have to write short always. This is a very common misconception in UX writing that you have to write small copies everywhere. That's not the case. If you have so much information to tell that you cannot sum up in 10 to 15 words, by all means use 40 words. But tell more. Tell completely. Don't focus on writing small phrases all the time. So to concise
But
your writing,
it won't grab the attention, right? If we write long essays, so will
I'll
that be
give
a
you an example. Wait, I'll give you an example. Have you used it? What are the apps you use generally?
yeah, like I Uber, like WhatsApp, Instagram.
So remember WhatsApp launched its policy recently.
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
you
yeah.
have that policy? So the first time we launched it, nobody understood what they were
Yeah.
doing, right?
Exactly.
They changed the copy of it entirely.
Yes.
And they did not shorten the copy. All they did was highlighted the right words, changed the tone of the voice, but started telling more about what they were talking about. They actually increased words if you look at it, if you can find the comparison. So grabbing the attention would happen with, you can use a title to grab the attention, right? But if you have to tell something more, you will still need to write that entire paragraph. You can't hide information from the user. And as you're asking about concise writing,
Yeah.
that won't come in the first sentence ever. If you get to read my first drafts, you will literally be shocked at what have I even written here. It's what I do is I write a first draft, then I edit it, then I read it out loudly, then I find gaps that I understand that, oh, this is not flowing really well. Then I edit
Texting
it again.
style also matters, right? The style we write, like if we use much more like bulleting or rather than paragraph wise.
No, that depends. It's a case to case basis thing. You want like pointers in your essay, right?
Yeah.
But when you're trying to read, if you call it a list, you will have to have a list. So there are times when I don't use a paragraph, and I'll give a recent small example. Recently, I had a screen where I had to tell the user that they cannot place an order and they are blocked for 2 days. This is a very sad information to convey to the user, right?
Okay.
If I tell you that, hey, you're blocked from using your account for 2 days, you will be angry at me and you'll blame me. So I had to give all the story. So first I told them that, hey, there's something wrong. We have blocked you from placing an order for 2 days. And if you want to understand more what happens, click here. Or if you would like to directly speak to a person, click here. So now you have given user two options, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So include basic decision making within that, and break down the information. Writing short is never the solution. Breaking,
Okay.
got it?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? That's awkward silence moment. I would need someone to speak.
I think we just had a question. I've seen people use emojis to convey messages. Is that a good practice?
Yeah, there's no good or bad practice. If your user likes emojis, put emojis by all means. If your user is not that kind who can comprehend emojis, remove those emojis. All of this has to be constantly tested. All of this has to be constantly evaluated, to be honest.
All right. I think that answers your question.
Yeah.
Any other questions, guys? I think we don't have any more questions.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So we have a host here too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's all about the question and answer session. And
I think we've learned a lot from
Yeah,
this. I mean, to be honest, UX writing was something like we really wanted to bring to people because like it's lesser known. I mean, I've only attended the session once before this,
Yeah.
and it like when I first heard of it, it was kind of I didn't get what it is, but when I heard that session, I kind of got what it is. And
Yeah.
I think all of the attendees here should have kind of got the
idea and grasp about what this is truly about. So guys, how was the session? So let's see
put it up in the chat.
chats. Come on, usually.
Guys, feel free to spam the chat.
So yeah, now breaking the awkward silence.
So it's kind of hard to get.
Yeah, there is. So, anyways, thank you for coming.
It was really insightful.
Yeah.
As the chat said, it was. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much, everyone, for hearing me out and giving me the time to speak. And for any questions, you can just connect with me on LinkedIn. I look forward to speaking to you if you have any questions.
Yes.
Cool.
And kind of
it's very fun to have used Lorem Ipsum under my name as a UX writer, but okay.
We got it right this time. We hope it is.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Bye,
much.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.
I think that was a very interesting session, and it was a variety from the
usual trend.
And now we can, we've been talking about UI UX and all that
yeah.
for now. So let's just take it to a broader level, and go into the whole product cycle.
Yeah.
So
So everybody has a creative potential, right? So the moment you start expressing that creative potential is when you start to change the world. So without much ado, I'm gonna tell you that conferences like these are the places where you're gonna unlock them. So I'm gonna introduce you to a person that is one of the greatest mind I've come across in Mahabesili's College of Engineering, and to be more dramatic, I would say Kerala itself. So the person is Mr. Arun JS. So he is the assistant professor of Mahabesili's College of Engineering, and he is the co-founder of Slate and Pencil, and he is the nodal officer of IEDC and BCT, and he is the mentor of Young Innovator Program at Kerala Development and Strategic Innovator at Strategic Council. Sorry if I got that wrong. So, sir, the stage is yours. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, guys. I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so good evening, all. It's really delightful to see such good number of participants in such a busy day, such a busy evening. So, yeah, regarding UXTopia has been trending over the last few days in everybody's statuses. Um, yes, you people have actually uh, what to say. You people have grabbed the attention of quite a few in MBCET and from outside as well. Many people have been asking in our circles what this event is all about. Yeah, so absolutely wonderful to see such an event being organized by our students, and especially something that makes it more exciting for me is I joined MBCET in 2017, and during that time I happened to coordinate an event for our college, and specifically for that event we were um, in need of a designer who could convey the entire idea of the event in a very interesting manner. Um, and unfortunately, I couldn't even find one single designer then. And that is the day I installed Adobe Photoshop for the third or fourth time. Why third or fourth time? Because I have tried it from my school days, but I couldn't understand what this is all about and what the tools are like. So I just uninstalled it then. And out of no other options, I started designing in 2017, or you can call me as a forced kind of uh, designer, not by choice, you can say. So yeah, other than that, to introduce myself, as Salman and Navneet mentioned, I'm working as assistant professor in Marbasilis College, and I'm basically I have a very small presentation. I will, yes. I'll just share my screen. Just give me a second. Okay. So to introduce myself, I'm basically a teacher who tries to learn things from my students, and an engineer who tries to solve problems, or a freelancer, I would like to call myself. I'm not that matured enough to be called myself an entrepreneur. Yes, do we run a very minor initiative by the name Slate and Pencil, which does educational consultancy, organizational development, or we broadly place somewhere in middle of the so-called gig economy cycle, which we call these days. So that is a very small initiative by a group of faculty members and young engineers from our state. Yes. So apart from that, I'm interested in designs. Um, uh, when the coordinating team mentioned that they would want me to be in the panel of speakers, I was actually wondering how or what I should speak, because as I say, I am not a trained designer, or I have never created something that is um, uh, yeah, frankly speaking, I never consider myself as a designer. That's it. Yeah. So the greatest thing that happens, or what to say, uh, how we learn these kind of stuff. Uh, that's where I want to start. Is there any specific training programs, or any specific cycles or stone carved rules which we can follow to become a good designer? Uh, I actually don't believe. Yes, definitely you can learn the tools and all, but to create a good product, you have to. I believe that you have to be a very good. You should have a very good sense of observation, as well as a very good sense of aesthetics, right? So it's always amazing to see people gather in events like this, and in a peer learning kind of model, ideas are being shared. So I'm absolutely happy to see such good number of participants over here, and they are ready to work forward as a community to contribute more towards the design space. So from 2017 to 2021, at a point where I couldn't even find a single designer to design for um, my small event. From that point to this point, if I see, yeah, I can see a very independent activity which is being driven by my students, which is specifically based on design. That itself makes me absolutely proud. And yeah, what is the closest qualification that I have in speaking in this event? I believe that I just share the same roof with these marvelous people. I think that is the closest qualification which I can claim uh, to be addressed as a speaker in this event. Yeah. So I have a very small presentation. I don't have much complex concepts or things to teach or convey. Let's see. So yes, we clearly know that the future is going to be in the freelance cycle, or there is a very popular TED talk about. I think you might be aware of this term called as gig economy, right? Have you heard about the word gig economy? Can you please respond in the chat? GIG, gig. Yes. Okay, thank you. So, in one very popular TED Talks by Madam Patricia Lomboriti, I believe, she's drawing this amazing parallel between those olden days where uh, jobs jobs were like a permanent kind of engagement. From those days to this day, what is the change that happened? In those days, she's saying that a person who completes about 20-25 years of experience in the same organization will be given some sort of a loyalty kind of a reward. Most of the times it happened to be a golden watch, golden plated watch maybe. From that point to this point, if we traverse across how jobs has been evolved, she says that today it's not the era of golden watches, it's the era of smart watches or Fitbits, you can say. So what is the difference from those olden days to these days? Today we have these smartwatches which will push or trigger you to move around and search for some alternate source of revenue if you are sitting idle for quite a long time, right? So the future is going to be um more in a freelancing mode, or there is nothing which is going to be called as a lifetime job, right? So what is going to be measured there? It's definitely going to be the skill sets which we have, and not just the skill set. I mean, if you are a designer, if you are interested in UI or UX design, it's not just going to be that skill. Another thing that is extremely important these days is to showcase your work. That is to stay connected with um, other people who are looking for you. So you should know who are those people searching for um, skilled people, the skill set which you have to connect with them. So you have to be very agile, and you have to be very visible in that sector to be seen, and to get more work out of it. So yeah, we can say that our movie stars, or the people who get engaged in a movie, we clearly know that all of them are kind of freelancers, right? So they get signed up for a particular project, and once it is done, they'll get the payment, and that is the way they engage throughout. So it's going to be like that, or that is going to be the shape of the future to come. And in that space, as designers or as engineers, definitely to have that extra edge, we should be really sharp in terms of our skills. And on top of that, I would like to mention that you have to be very strong with your networking capabilities as well. Yes. So coming to when we speak about product design, uh, yes, you might have heard about several product design models, like the waterfall model or the agile model. Um, as I said, it's not for me. I'm completely saying my perspectives. Uh, it's not about learning how all these steps work, or how it's not about understanding the entire framework, because the framework or the entire system, why this framework is being put. If we create a product, or if we create a design, what is its ultimate aim? So definitely the product or the design which we create is going to, or is intended to communicate something with its users, right? So users are basically human beings. So whatever thing we do, whatever thing we create, it is for the human beings to consume. That is the first thing which we need to understand. And for a human being to consume, you have to think, or you have to empathize properly from their perspective, right? So that is the crux of user-centered design. So you have to be clearly aware what your users want. And especially when it comes to design, something that is very interesting is this. Yeah, you can simply take a poster, or a motion video, for example. You will be contacted by, or you'll be asked to work upon a particular project. Let's say a poster. You design a poster, and there is this one person who uh, wanted you to do this project. So on first phase, we are addressing him or her as your client, and as per your standards or your conviction, or the trends which you are aware, maybe you'll be thinking of a minimal kind of design or something, and you come up with a design, and you or you present it to your client. Then immediately the client is saying that no, this is not the kind of creation that I expected. So this happens quite often, right? And um why this is happening? So that is the question. And even after seeing our first level design, there might be a number of corrections. There may be a number of suggestions, and suggestions over suggestions, and by the end of the process, we may get extremely exhausted or tired, because we may feel that our creative freedom has been compromised or something, right? So this is one dilemma that happens in every design phase, whether it is a UI or UX or even a complete product design. So what you have to understand is that when you say user or when you say client, definitely that particular person is expecting something, or that person want that particular product to be felt in a particular manner. And at the same time we have our prejudices, right? We want people to look at our product or look at our design and identify, okay, so this is a work done by this person, so it is maintaining that particular standard. So quite a few times we will be um, not in a position to balance these two kind of things, and that is one serious dilemma which I see in our students or in some of the designers. So something that's need to be addressed, or something that needs to be fixed, is this dilemma. So for that, you have to divide the entire segment of productization into two halves, or there's one framework that represents these two halves, and I would simply introduce that framework to you people. Definitely you can explore further onto that. So as I mentioned, it's going to be people who are going to consume the product which you are making. And for the same reason, you have to be in a very empathetic mode, right? You have to understand, or you have to think from the perspective of your users. Again, users, when I say, definitely the first person who is the client who gave you the job, and there is going to be the larger part of the community who is going to see and consume the product in a much more holistic manner, right? So you have to empathize from that perspective, right? Yeah. So coming to the model is called as um, double diamond model. Yeah, this is the pictorial representation of the double diamond product design. You have basically four phases, as I mentioned. In the first phase, what you have to do is you have to identify what are the actual requirements. You have to be completely aware what problem you are addressing, right? 50 percentage of your entire work can be or should be dedicated to this pre-functional definition, we can call, right? You have to be very empathetic. You have to identify what your primary client is saying, or at the same time you have to even think of what the greater part of the crowd, or how the greater part of the crowd is going to look forward in this particular product. So the first step is discover. That is, you will be presented a problem statement, or you'll be finding a problem statement by yourself. It will be a very broader kind of thing. From that, you have to converge, or you have to identify and reach a particular definition which is very, very streamlined. And once that definition is done, then only you start developing, right? In video productions and all, you call it as the pre-production phase, right? So for example, if you're conducting an event just like this event, you can see that the kind of professionalism that these people have put in is absolutely marvelous. Why? Because of the kind of pre-production work, the discover and definition of this event, or the time dedicated to identify this gap, and what all things are to be addressed. They defined it very precisely, right? And that is why uh, it is maintaining this kind of a quality, right? So this is the most important phase which I would like to mention upon. Once you complete this empathize phase, or once you complete this, completely understand what your client requires from his or her own perspective. On top of that, if you can contribute your creative contributions, or your creative quotient, then definitely the product will be much, much better. So this is from a UI UX kind of a perspective. So to explain the double diamond product design, we'll be starting from the problem, and you can see that it's like a diamond that is being cascaded. In the first phase, you'll be discovering. Discovering means having you'll be gathering as much of data you can. You'll be making conversation. You'll be researching. You'll be diving deep in conversation with your clients or users and whatever possible stakeholders available. And then you sit down and gather all these thoughts to make it a very proper definition. Then we use all these kind of then we jumps upon to the solution side where we develop and deliver the ultimate solution. So in product design cycle, we call it as the design thinking philosophy. And design thinking philosophy starts with empathize, then moves on to define, then comes the ideation, then comes the prototype, and then is the test. So 5 phases we have in design thinking framework, starting from empathy to test, right? So what they say is 40% of your work is in empathize. You have to clearly understand what the users want, or that is why it is called as the user-centric problem, user-centric process in problem solving. So one more thing which I want to convey is that the process is never going to be linear. It's not like you'll empathize, you'll define, you'll straight away ideate, prototype, and test and deliver to your customer. Definitely there will be alternate jumps that happens from maybe once you create a prototype, you may feel that once you create a prototype and show to a customer, he may feel, okay, this is not the kind of experience which I wanted. Then definitely you'll be coming straight back to the ideate phase, and you'll be taking some other channel which you ideated in that particular phase. Or you may come back to the empathize phase, and you'll completely go around and ask questions and derive some different insights to remodel the entire product into a new shape as well. So it's not going to be a linear process. And as I certainly mentioned in the beginning, there is nothing which is called as a stone carved rule kind of thing where you can learn that and stick on to that and possibly believe that this is going to work for my client, right? So it's all about the experience and knowledge which you gain when you move from products to products. So gathering insights is the most important thing when you when it comes to products, especially when it comes to student startup. Most of the time, which we have seen that while working for a startup, for gathering all these requirements, people do depend on the online portals or the online forms like Google Forms or any other online medium to generate insights from their stakeholders. But the most exciting part is or to understand what your client actually need. You have to explore the latent needs. Even when you talk with a customer to know what all requirements they have, quite a few times they may also find it very difficult to convey what they actually want, right? And in those cases, if they can't properly explain what they actually want, then the product and expectation will never converge to a single point. So it is the responsibility, being a designer, being a product designer, it's going to be your responsibility to gather those insights from your customers, even if they fail to explain it properly. So those needs, we call it as the latent needs. So the key is in identifying these latent needs and addressing that while designing a particular product. It's a very, very tough thing to do, but still that is the thrill in the entire process. If you can understand those latent needs from your customer, definitely you can build on products accordingly, which will be a massive fulfillment for the customer. I can't say massive success, massive fulfillment for both the designer and customer. So latent needs are to be addressed. And what I believe is for identifying those latent needs, you have to be in direct conversation with your customers. You have to meet them face to face and talk about it. And even at some point, you may even You may even get those later needs from their face expressions or voice modulation as well, right? Yes. So yes, this is one very interesting design which I found in the recent times. It is a advertisement by the company Jeep. See how minimal and how intelligently they have tried to convey the idea. In the picture, you can see two animals. One is a husky and one is a camel. And the point at which they converge, you can see the shape of the jeep or the company. Again, husky. When it comes to husky and camel, you clearly know that husky is an animal that lives in the polar region, and camel is in the deserts. So again, it conveys that the vehicle is going to be a multi-terrain kind of vehicle. It's very minimal, very simple, yet it is conveying a very powerful kind of thing. So these are the kind of stuff that excites me as a user. They have conveyed the entire idea. I heard somebody was asking about writing the content in paragraphs and things like that. So it's all about the visual impact which you can create. If it comes to a design or if it comes to a two-dimensional kind of thing. If it's not a motion picture, if it is just a poster. The poster has to create its impact in the first 2 or 3 seconds, right? Once you see a poster in the initial 2 or 3 seconds, it should create that magic. And if it is a kind of a motion picture kind of thing of 30 seconds long, then there should be some sort of magic moments that is being imbibed with that content, which will stick that particular content in the mind of the audience. So for every product, there will be a very different kind of approaches needed, and yes, it comes only through experience. Different clients will be demanding in different manner, and of course you can learn through all these structures and frameworks and everything, but still what it is going to really matter is the kind of platforms like this where you can share the projects which you have done, where you can share the latest trends, like let's say what is the role of symmetry in a design, or what is the concept of minimalism or abstract designs. So I think it's absolutely wonderful to move forward in such a community kind of way, and I would like to really appreciate the efforts taken by the coordinators once again. Yes, that's all from my side. I have nothing more to convey. So I just want all you people to explore further on user-centric designs and the philosophy design thinking. It will definitely help you as a designer or as an engineer to solve a problem, to own a problem. You have to be in line with the customers, or be on the exact shoes of your customers or the users who are going to use that particular thing. Yes. So with that, I would like to wind up. 30 minutes was allocated for me. I think I'm almost done. If you have any kind of questions, we can take it. Otherwise, yeah.
Guys, do you have any questions? You can just do it in the chat. You can ask in the chat, or you can even unmute it.
Yeah, you can feel free.
Yeah. Anyone?
It's not technically a question, but I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Sir. He has taken his time out of his busy schedule for a session here. And I'm quite sure the way you explained the different keystones of product design, I'm sure that you will all get it very helpful while you're working for your design sprint that's happening tomorrow and day after. A 48-hour sprint where you'll be actually working as interns for a design company, and you'll be actually designing a proper UI product. So it will be really helpful for you. And thank you, sir. You have taken a great session, and you've been most of like a mentor to all of us, as you have said it in the beginning too. I think we do
Yeah.
have a question, sir.
Yeah.
Can
Sorry.
you?
Yeah, I can see the question. Can you give a small idea on how to become a product designer? See, the basic thing is the most essential skill that you need to be a designer, I believe, is you have to have a very superficial observation, or I would like to say attention in general. If you attend through your eyes, it is called as observation. If you attend through your ears, it is called as listening, right? So you have to be very keen and very sharp to identify those gaps which are not being seen by everybody else. And upon identifying that gap, you have to come with a very sleek or very very attractive kind of solution which will exactly fit in to the that particular need. So that is the skill that you require. But basically, you need to have certain knowledge. Product design, again, the word itself is very broad. It can be a software design. It can be a mm, it can be a it can be UX itself, or it can be a short film, right? Everything can be a product. So you have to gather whatever fundamental knowledge that is required for working along with that particular product. That is very, very essential, and you have to practice that particular knowledge in a very frequent basis. Then only that knowledge will get converted as a skill. And again, upon continuous practice of your skill, will make you more and more competent as a designer. So if you want to pursue a career in product design phase, definitely you have to gather fundamental knowledge, and after that, along with that, you have to practice this thing. Like you have to be very, very attentive, and it's not like from a day, okay, from today I'll be very, very attentive, and it doesn't work like that, right? The skill has to be a part of your being. So even if we are people who don't spend that much of time in silly matters around us, but product designers or innovators in general are those people who are not satisfied with the kind of things which they see around, right? So observation or attention is one essential thing, and definitely in whichever field you're going or whichever product you're going to look upon, you have to gather the fundamental knowledge and keep practicing it. I hope I answered, Mohammed Shamil. Thank you. And one more thing which I want to mention is that there are so many avenues or so many knowledge platforms available these days. For example, if you simply search for trends in Instagram or in Google, you will come across so many superb articles which will give you a broader idea or very specific ideas also to work or to identify where to start and how to proceed. Exactly, we are really lucky to be in such an information age where all these contents are available at our disposal. Maybe 10 or 20 years before, even if you want to be a designer, you have to go to some remote shop that is being run by a very amateur kind of a designer, and pay him maybe heavily to learn the basic tools, right? So today the window is quite open, and all you have to do, or something which you have to do very carefully, is curation, where you have to look upon and what you want to select. The content is there, the platform is there, communities are there, like our DSC, GDSC. So work upon your skills in such a community model. That is the greatest motivation, is the peer level motivation, I believe. It's not like your teacher or your parent is coming and saying that, okay, go and become a product designer. It's not like that. When the fellow beings that are around you are working upon some product, naturally you will also have that particular motive. So it's always good to get surrounded with like-minded people. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Hello.
So thank you, sir,
Okay, sir.
for such a wonderful session.
Yeah.
So guys,
You went through all the,
Is
stages.
there anything else?
I don't think so, sir. No more questions, sir.
Guys, if you do have questions, I mean, we
Please,
could just,
yeah. You can hear us, right, sir?
Hello?
I guess ours network is down. Or is ours down, guys? Can you respond?
Are we audible?
Yeah, you are.
Okay. So I believe our sir's network must have been down. So, anyways, thank you, sir, for giving us these wonderful insights into it. And I know our energy is a bit down right now. Come on, guys, bring some energy back into the
Let's
event.
get back into
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yes, there is a big thing coming up after this. The design sprint, the
We need
shortlisting.
all your
We need
energy
these
back.
energies back. Come on, we need some energies back. So the next person,
Is someone when we talk about
About
our
him.
answer,
yeah,
I think
it
we can-
links him to Joshin. Okay, so his name is Joshin. So
Joshin Samuel.
and that person is the one who inspires all the designers in.
I think we've said that a lot.
A lot.
I mean, like when we first started designing, if we had an inspiration, it was Joseph.
He said that design can bring worth to anyone in the field. And yeah, Joshin. So Joshin, are you listening to all the praises you're giving you?
Yeah, I haven't paid these guys for this. But thank you for the kind words. Thank you so much.
Oh, okay.
So we leave you to
him. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey guys, am I audible? Am I visible? Yep. Okay. Cool. So it's great to be here at UXTopia, and I sincerely thank GDSC, MBCT, Ria, Salman, Navneet for inviting me, and I'm really looking forward to the session. So first of all, before I start, I think yeah, there are two. Yeah, there's one poll active right now. So can you guys just tell me which year of college are you in, or if you're a working professional? And there's another poll. So what point you are at in your life? Maybe you're an aspiring designer, you make some posters, or maybe you're a freelancer. So I can get a better idea on how to take the session forward. So yeah, nice. Okay, can see some responses in the chat. Um, Can I see the results of the poll if they have started answering?
I think that's visible too.
Yeah, just give me a minute. I can't see. Okay. Uh, okay. Okay, second year, third year, fourth year. Nice. 2, 14, 9, 4. And what about the second poll? I make a few posters here and there. Aspiring designers, 9 votes. Okay. So thank you guys. So before I move forward with my session, it would be great if you guys can just turn on your cameras for a brief moment, because I don't want to feel like I'm talking to a bunch of profile pictures. So if you can turn on your cameras, that would be amazing. Hmm. Wait, do I see any cameras on? Okay. I think others try to on his camera. Um, okay, so is no one turning on their cameras? Okay, it's fine. It's fine. So let's just start. Oh yeah, hi. Others, hi. Okay. Okay. So it's nice. Nice to see you. Oh, Salman and Navneet. Hi guys. Noel. Hi. So it's really nice to see you guys here. So I'm gonna keep the session brief, and I'll be talking from my personal experiences only. And yeah, let's see what we can get this to. So my name is Joshin Samuel. I'm a fourth year electronics and communication engineering student from Arbacelius College of Engineering and Technology in Trivandrum. Uh, yeah, and I work part time as a graphic designer for a startup known as Cosmic Wealth. So they build products around the financial markets, and yeah, so I basically I wouldn't say I'm a graphic designer per se because I wear multiple hats at work every day. So sometimes I'm the VFX guy, sometimes I'm the marketing guy, sometimes I'm the web designer. So in a startup, you got to do multiple roles. So yeah, I'll call myself a design journalist. Okay, so I'll give you guys a quick story on my journey. And yeah, so I came to this college in 2018. So engineering wasn't my first preference. I was planning to go for a BSc in physics, but my marks weren't that great, so I couldn't get an admission to a degree college. It sounds weird. You didn't get admission for degree, so you came to engineering. But then that's the sad truth. Uh, yeah. So okay. In my first year, I was really open to exploring a lot of avenues. What do you say? I used to attend most of the talks that I used to come across in our WhatsApp groups. So what do you say? In your first year, you're really curious to knowing, you hear a lot of jargons like AR, VR, IoT, robotics. So I was like, anyways, I'm in engineering college. There's no point trying to resist whatever change is coming. So I just went forward. I went for many events, whatever talk session I could see, uh, because it's free. First of all, it's free, and so those sessions, most of them were by IEDCs. I guess Rahul had mentioned earlier in his talk about IEDC. So our college also has one. It's known as Catalyst, Marpesilis College of Engineering Technology, um, Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development Center. Okay, yeah, I know it's quite a big name. So they used to conduct these events after college. So after 4:30, there used to be like a 1 hour talk session on AR, maybe blockchain. So I used to sit for all those sessions every day, and I was really curious to knowing what is happening around the world. So after 1 year of interaction with IEDC, I was like, okay, I came across this post, and it was they're looking for the new executive committee members, and I applied for a post known as Chief Creative Officer. I had no idea what the post would be or what I would be doing, but then creativity was something I was always interested in. During my school days, I was into music production, video production, designing, but designing not that great, but then still enough to be stand out from the rest. So what do you say? So I was looking for I applied for the role because first of all, coding was really competitive. I mean, there was a lot of good coders by the time I was in my first year. Like in my first year itself, there were so many good coders. So I was just like, okay, I'm not going to touch coding. Maybe I'm going to go check another field that no one has scratched the surface of. And I went for designing. So creative office, I was like, okay, maybe I'll be designing some stuff and all. Like that, I got into IEDC. So I made it into IEDC's exitcom the in my first year. I think when my first year or second year started, I made it into the exicom. And then 1 year I was under the mentorship of Arun sir. So yeah, Arun sir is like my biggest mentor in college. I'm really thankful to him. I am who I am today because of him. So it was a really good experience with IEDC. So by the time I think my creative officer role was ending, the COVID lockdown had started. Yeah. So what do you say? Over 1 year, I've made over. I mean, back then, over 1 year, I've made over 150 posters or something because we used to do so many offline events and stuff. So yeah, just to give you like a reference, after making all those stuff, one fine day during lockdown, I got a message. Hey, would you be interested in doing such a gig? Like, okay, we design 18 posters for our Instagram. I was like, yeah, it sounds doable. Then I went to Arun sir and I was like, sir, is this something I can do? Is it possible? So he was like, yeah, sure, Joshin, just go ahead, take it. And like that, what do you say? That's how I landed my first uh, gig. So I never thought it's going to turn into a part-time job. So the person who had contacted me is my current boss. So his name is Ridvik. And yeah, like I told you, the CEO and co-founder of Cosmic Wealth. So and the catch over here is that they offered me a pretty huge chunk of money for doing that. So you should like understand that what do you say? I never thought you could get paid for designing, or I wasn't expecting something back in return. So that's when like I even first the thought of monetizing this design struck me. Like before that, what do you say? The seniors in college, they will be like, "Can you make this poster for me? I'll buy you one egg puffs and one lime." So that's what used to happen. But then suddenly things just changed in 1 day. And when I look back now, things didn't change in 1 day. This was a collective effort of more than 10 years of effort because 10 years when I say it's including the time I was in school. So when I was in school, I used to like do all this stuff on the side. Maybe what do you say, Photoshop something, or maybe make PPT. I was like uh, I was really my first design tool was PPT. So I mean PowerPoint presentation. Yeah. Okay. So I see this as a the collective result of 10 years of work because in that 1 year I was with IEDC, I did a lot of stuff. Okay, a lot of stuff means I used to do posters, then maybe even brainstorm how events will be done and all those stuff. But then, what do you say? That was the first time I was like really focused on doing it. The others were just for fun. Maybe it's a hobby. So yeah, this is what I'd like to call compounding of your skills. So over 10 years of effort just compounded in that 1 day. You know how that graph goes, right? So that was the starting point where I like made. It wasn't the first time I made money, but then substantial amount of money. That was the first time. So from then, I still work with them. But then that time it was a freelance gig. So every month they used to like have certain jobs. They just used to get them done, and the payout was really well. The payout was really good. It was substantial enough that I didn't have to depend on my parents for a living. Right. So yeah, that's that. And what do you say? From last April onwards, 2021 April, I got into a part-time job with them because I was looking forward to something more. What do you say? Something more. With freelancing, what happens is the amount of money you make every month keeps on varying and stuff. So I was looking for a little more like being a little more committed to something. Okay, so that, yeah, that's the word, commitment. So this is, I think, today is November, so it's close to 1 year and 9 months with them, and I've learned a lot of stuff, right? Like before I used to make posters, but then now you're managing an entire brand and things, so that like, what do you say, it changes things from what do you say, it changes how you think as a person. Okay, I don't know if it makes sense, but then when you switch from being a clueless designer who doesn't know what they're doing is right or what they're doing is wrong, or maybe if it's good, to being paid to design, the way you start thinking, it changes, right? So that's what I want to tell you guys. Rather than focusing on the monetization part, be curious on learning new things. Really put your effort into skills. So you can check out what the future is in demand of, skills that future is in demand of, right? In designing itself. So it's not just limited to softwares. I don't want to like it's really what do you say, people have this wrong notion like, be you're a designer means you know Photoshop, Illustrator, and maybe Figma. That's not the thing. So that's when I started freelancing, that's what I understood. It's not just knowing your tools, it's knowing how to communicate with people, it's knowing how to generate new ideas. Because what do you say, when somebody is paying you money for you to do a job, they are expecting to make a return on it, right? So the way you start thinking, that will also change. Okay. um I just want to like stop here and ask if you guys have any questions or any doubts till now. Any questions? I'm checking the chat. I don't see anything. So it's, I think I'm hoping you guys don't have any questions. So
Guys, I think okay.
what are the different hats you wear at work? Okay, so when I started off, I was just a graphic designer. I just used to make like Instagram posts for these guys. Then I became a video editor. Like I've never touched Premiere Pro before, but then I started uh, video editing. Like I used to, when I told you I was interested in video production back in school, what I meant is I used to use Windows Movie Maker to make my videos, right? I'm not even sure how many of you guys know Windows Movie Maker. So it's that old. Uh, yeah, so then I became like, they needed more motion graphics, like they need more collaterals that had motion graphics. So I learned After Effects for that. Um, what do you think? I just know, I'll say graphic designing is my main skill. So I know enough in that. Right. I know enough in that. So I can maybe even recreate ideas I see, or maybe even just make stuff what I see in my mind, I can make it. I know that much of graphic designing. And rest of these skills I told you, video editing and what do you say, VFX and all that stuff. I just know enough from to get me from 0 to 1, or I know the right person to outsource it to. Right. So what do you say? So I think Rahul, I answered your question. And yeah, I'm also a web designer in the side, not coder, web designer. Yeah. Okay. So I won't be spoon feeding you guys on how you can start earning with designs, because you guys can find resources by yourself. I believe rather than spoon feeding, like you should be curious enough to check out these stuff if you're interested. There are many platforms, gig platforms, but my first preference when it comes to like gaining works is, you have to have a network of people, right? You need to have a network of people that you can rely on to get your next gig, or maybe get your next referral, right? So from my experience, I haven't had like an official portfolio. Okay, I don't have like a well-made site of portfolio and stuff. I get most of my freelance gigs from clients that I've worked with before, or their referrals. Are you guys understanding? Can I say a yes in the chat box if you've like been able to understand the things I've told till now? Because I feel like I'm rambling a bit. Okay, cool, cool, nice. Okay, so I'm going to show you my portfolio. It's not a portfolio per se, but then I'm just going to share my screen and show it to you guys. Yeah. Okay. Can just someone verify that they can see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, I get you.
You can see, right? Yeah. So this is what I might send out to designers. Maybe not uh, like people who give me gigs and stuff, but then other designers to show them my work and stuff, so I can like get more feedback and yeah, that sort of thing. So here are like few works that I'm like really proud of that I've done. So this one is a 5-day poster series that I did. So most of these were done in less than 30 minutes. The idea was just to like uh, what do you say? When you're in a creative rut, you just limit yourself a lot. Um, and maybe used to like go search for a picture or something. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take this picture and I'm gonna do something with it. So most of them were done like that. And then there's this um, YouTube live stream background I've done for Mr. Shashank Kudupa. So he's a popular uh, finance educator on YouTube. So these were some live stream backgrounds I've done for him. So it was nice, like making this stuff for him. And then this, I think this was like a major point in my, what do you say? This work was like a major milestone in my design career because like this sums up what we've done in a whole year of IEDC. So this is a magazine that I'm really proud of. Yeah, and then these are some social media posters I've made for IEDC in my time there. I'm still a part of IEDC, guys. Okay, 3 years running, so this is my third year. And then here's a poster I've made for the rapper called RZ. So I'm not sure how many of you guys know him, but then this poster was done for him. And then here's a casting call poster I've done from Neeraj Madhav and Siddharth Menon. So all the Malayalis in the house know this guy, these guys. So they're like the what do you say? Uh, like trending artists right now, I guess. Neeraj is doing a lot of stuff. Siddharth Menon is doing a lot of stuff. So they had reshared it, and I think this was free. Okay, this was free of cost. Like I wasn't paid to do this, but then the exposure that it gave me, I was like. I was given an opportunity to work with Neeraj Madhav on one of his new projects, but then due to university scheduling of exams and stuff, it didn't happen. Uh, but then yeah, like I still have him on my contact. This is like, I mean, I find that like really what do you say? It's uh, it's just so nice to have a celebrity on your contact list. I'm just joking. Then there's this, what do you say, cover photo I did for one of Shashank Udupa's community on his app called Scenes by Avalon. And then here you can see this cover art. Okay, so this one was, I really love this band. Okay, so I did this for free, and I wasn't even expecting them to use this, but then they did, and it's there on Spotify. If you guys check out this song, you can see. So yeah, that's a cover art that I did. And then there was a hackathon in a college called Ingress. So the overall branding and design for that event was done by me and Srijit. Okay, Srijit So a little fun fact. Srijit is like my co-designer buddy. So what do you say? There's this concept I believe in. You need to have a mentor and a buddy to succeed in whatever you're doing. Okay. So for me, it was designing, and my mentor was Arun sir. So I used to get constant design feedback from Arun sir about this designing and stuff. And Srijit was somebody I worked with. I used to get my feedback, like design related feedback from him, because when you're like a lone designer, or you're maybe like designing by yourself, you constantly require a lot of feedback to improve, right? So these are two people who I used to turn turn to for uh, advice. I think yeah, advice, and generally just a rant about things. So I think uh, Salman, how long do we have?
I think we have 5 more minutes.
Yeah. Okay, sure. I'm just gonna like what do you say? So I think I've made it clear that you guys can be earning a lot because this is the age of the internet, right? And what do you say? Just give me a minute.
We made a poll,
Sorry for
so
that.
check it out. Give the rating to my amigo over here. By meantime he comes back. Yeah, he's back again.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm in my college hostel right now, so privacy is a bit of an issue right now. What do you say? Uh, yeah, I'll just get back to my point. So I just want to convey that you can be earning no matter what level of what do you say, what level you are on. You can be earning at any level, but what I want to urge you is rather than going straight away for earning, like I've seen a lot of what do you say, my juniors who want to like earn money, but then they're clueless about what to do to earn money. So this is what I want to tell you. Take one skill, become the master of it, at least in your circle. Okay. In your circle, become the master of it. And then network with a lot of people. And make sure these are people who are relevant to you. Okay. So in my network, I have guys who are like startup founders, um, other what do you say these guys services based companies, the CEOs of those companies. So what do you say, you should just try sending them a message, a cold email might work. So I get most of my referrals through those people. I don't have any public portfolios because yeah, I haven't been able to get myself to do that. Because what do you say, as a designer you're like always searching for perfect stuff to put out, and you want it to be perfect. Okay. Yeah, so that's one thing. You should have a network, and then try to get your works from those network. And what do you say, just have enough proof of work. Like if someone gives you a job, you know how to do it. Just You just need to convey that much of an idea. Okay, it's not that hard to get a job in this internet age. Okay. And what do you say, uh, my views on the future. Okay. Since most of you guys are first, second, and third year guys, I think you should, if you're creatives, you should be focusing on the metaverse, right? Um, so metaverse is not just Facebook's product. It's going to be it's going to be like, what do you say? It's going to be the future. I have no other words to like frame it, but then the metaverse, it's going to like open so much more opportunity for creatives, right? In the information age, it was more about how, if you know coding and what do you say, even in Kerala, most of the people, they didn't want UI designers, right? Nobody wanted UI designers. They wanted you to know Angular or maybe React or something like that. So a designer who knows code, they wanted that. Okay. But the metaverse opens a whole new dimension of jobs. It's going to give more opportunities for creators, 3D artists, VFX guys. You guys will be needed in the metaverse. Okay, I'm pretty sure of this, and time will tell us if that's true or not. So the metaverse is something you should look forward to, and there are two guys that I want you to like look up. Okay, so that's one thing, metaverse, and then second one, uh, rather than making design as a service, which means you're selling your time for money, you should be looking to productizing your services. Okay, so check out these two guys. I'm going to leave them in the chat since we are running out of time. I'm just going to leave them in the chat. These are designers who've yeah, exactly, side hustles, um, who've turned their skills, their services into products. And here are these two guys. Yeah, just check them out. And there are I think two concepts I want you to check out also. Since we are running short on time, I'm just going to leave them over here. And okay, I think I'm not sure of the spelling, but then yeah, I guess this is correct. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
So the two guys are Traf and Jack Butcher, and the concepts I want you guys to check out. If you're like really into this thing, like you know some designing now, you want to start earning, check out Age of Infinite Leverage and Permissionless Apprenticeship. These reading these articles itself, it's going to change your perspective on how you view things. Okay, so I mean, I know I've like rambled a lot right now, and I mean, next time maybe when we have more time, I'm going to like sit and explain these things in detail. But then, thank you guys, thank you so much. I mean, it would be cool, like if you guys can just tell me in the chat or something if this session was useful to you guys, or maybe you've gained some value. Yeah, and thank you, BSc, MBCET, and you guys for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Roshan.
It was our pleasure to have you here, come and spend your time and give us this wonderful insights into a design.
And I think you said it was wrong, but I think it was all about, getting a start in this. I think now every one of us will be checking these out and,
Sure.
yeah.
Obviously, we learn after each sessions new things, and this is obviously one of those sessions.
And about the network, I think we can say that we are proud to have a celebrity.
Just like Joshin said, he was proud to have Neeraj Madhav's contact, and actually, we are proud to have his contact in our phones, and he sees our status and he replies, that is privilege. And don't worry, we're not teasing him, this is true facts. So, yeah, that is.
I think the comments just tell exactly what it is.
So, thank you, Joshin.
Thank you, man. Okay.
I think so. That is that. And this marks the official end of the 5-day learning camp. We started on 15th, now we are on 19th. And yes, that is 5 days over, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is the end of the learning camp.
This is the end of the learning camp.
But the start of our
design sprint. We have been dragging this since the start of the event with the promotions, the pre-promos, everything. There is this thing called design
sprint. And if you
sprint.
know us, we don't brag without reasons.
Yes, exactly. So just like we said, I'm gonna on the chat in the Discord channel, I said you guys have to attend this session. That at the end of the day, I'll be giving you more insights in design sprints, and I'll start with the basics, which you guys know. So it's going to be 10 hypothetical companies that you guys are going to work on, and there is no 100 number of people right now in the meet, but there is actively 180 participants who have been completed the task, still task 3, they have been submitting the work. So yeah, from 180, they are going to shortlist 100 people only for better productivity for you guys and better understanding and for smooth processing of the design sprint. So again, what is design sprint? 10 hypothetical companies I said. The ideas which you have gathered until now, you guys
They're
didn't
going to be
know.
using that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Until now, task 1, task 2, task 3, you guys didn't know what you're doing. Basically, you started with a UI for a basic design idea, right? The first task which we gave you, from airport-centric app to robotic pets to flying drones, etc. So that were the theme of the companies you guys want to work on. In the second day, you guys worked on brand style, right? So there you designed for completely different company a logo. The reason for that was because you guys, like I said, when you work into a new environment, you're going to work under restricted brand guidelines. So to give you that insight, we guys made you work on a different teams logos. Okay, different teams.
Now this
Basically, what it simple is, Navneet is doing task 1, let's say he was doing airport, and I was doing the task for robotic pet. I know you guys can, those who have done the theme you got, you can relate to it. So basically, we changed the logo task between me and him. So I was actually doing airport, and he was doing the robotic pet.
So basically, it's a swap. So
Yeah.
you guys actually got to design brand guidelines.
Yes.
And now you're going to get to work on implementing a specific brand
guidelines that your friends have designed for you.
And
you
this is just
designed
the
for you.
start. There's
Yes.
a lot more to go in the design sprint.
And the third task, user research. And again, you guys are doing the same research that you guys are going to implement for the design sprint, right?
Exactly.
So you guys now have a UI, initial UI for you to work on. You have the brand identity, which you're going to work on. Then you have the research that you're going to work out. So with these 3 resources, from tomorrow, 12 p.m. onwards, that is exactly 15 hours from today, you guys are going to start working in a 10 hypothetical companies with CEOs, with CTO and CCOs, respectively from our team, organizing team, who are going to work as managers in front of you, managing directors.
And it's going to be a different experience.
Yes. And since this is, again, from today, we were all vibing, right? From tomorrow onwards, there is vibe. Okay, there is a friendly, but still we are going to
It's going to be
simulate
a work experience.
experience.
I mean, it's going to be that kind of an environment. So
Yeah.
be ready.
From there onwards, again, how do you know you guys are going to get selected, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
We're not going to give you a cliche sending PDFs with select number of people or list or mail. Simple mail like, okay, you guys are selected. You're going to come tomorrow to join our design sprint. How do you guys get selected for a company? You guys give trial runs, right? So these tasks are the trial runs you're giving to the companies you're going to work. And the company CEOs are going to list and sit and see your works, and they're going to select you. And by tomorrow, around 10 a.m., right?
I think 10 a.m.
10 a.m., you guys will receive, selected people will receive selection mails. And from there, we'll decide, I'm not going to bore you. From there, you guys will have in contact with the CEOs for
And
future.
it's all going to be part of that. And
Yeah.
it's going to be amazing.
From starting till the end, next 48 hours, I want you guys to keep all your plans aside to have a great experience. And I think if you guys are interested, please give us a fire in the chats. Please, come on. I hope to see at least one fire. Come on, chat.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Cool. Yes.
We expect to
Satisfied.
see this
Yes,
energy
Yes.
during the design
Design
sprint.
sprint. Don't worry, guys. You guys are gonna have lasting experience. And
Yeah. Okay. And about the ones that don't get it. I mean, obviously, we said there would be a selection criteria to the design sprint. So, for those who do not get the offer letters, don't worry. Is this the end for you? It is the end
it is the end
of
the
the beginning.
the beginning of the end. So
I'm sorry.
but
But
beginning of the end.
please, I mean, what we mean is it's nothing else but the Squid Game that we're organizing,
Yes.
which is on 21st of November.
21st night, after the design sprint wraps up, you guys are gonna come and play with us a Squid Game for one last chance. And don't worry,
This is your last chance. I mean,
so that you could win. And don't worry, there's one more fun twist into that.
you get the chance to bring your friends along,
That is the
even if they haven't attended UXTopia
Yeah.
so far.
That is, the people who couldn't attend UXTopia, they still have an equal opportunity and
chance.
one last chance to at least take away something from Squid Game. And yes, you guessed it right, there is a prize.
Yes.
So 6 games,
one life. Will you survive?
and that's it.